What's up, Dream Team fam? It's your man Harrison here, and I am so happy to be hitting you up with the October Development Guide teaching. This month, we are going to be talking about leading through others. Now, this is something that is near and dear to me here at Victory. We're going to go and get right in and get naked. Now, if you've been to the Marriage XO conference, you are familiar with Dave and Ashley Willis using this term. But today, we are talking about what Patrick Lencioni describes as a naked service. So let's begin with being a naked leader. First, the obvious. We're a church crowd. We are not literally talking about no clothes, so get those thoughts out of here. Being a naked leader means we are talking about one thing, and that's vulnerability. Oxford Dictionary says vulnerability is the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. So as we transfer that to leadership, what does that mean? As leaders, being vulnerable means embracing humility, selflessness, and transparency for the good of the people you lead, your team. Now, this is more difficult than it seems because humility and selflessness and transparency require suffering, and none of us want anything to do with suffering. This is something we as humans find objectionable. People tend to live life trying to avoid any painful or awkward situations. Being a naked leader will allow the leader to gain higher trust and confidence of the team, and the results will be loyalty. We are susceptible to the following three fears. They prevent us from building trust and loyalty in our lives and teams. So here are these three fears. Number one, fear of losing business or teammates. What the people we lead want more than anything is to know that we're more interested in helping them than we are in helping ourselves or the company. How do we shed that fear? Well, naked leaders understand that our team embraces those who will be honest and direct with them, even when it's something that they might not understand or agree with. We should be providing skills that help at church, but more importantly, at home and work. Fear number two is the fear of being embarrassed. Everyone likes to be seen as smart. As a leader, a public mistake in front of your team or teams does not bode well. Now, how do we shed this fear? Well, naked leaders want to win so bad that they prioritize positive results. This frees them up to ask questions and make suggestions, even if those questions and suggestions could turn out to be incorrect. They admit what they don't know and can point out their errors because protecting their intellectual ego is not important to them. Fear number three is the fear of feeling inferior. The fear of feeling inferior is not about our intellectual pride, but rather about preserving our sense of importance and social standing relative to our team. As leaders, we try to achieve and preserve a certain level of standing and importance in the eyes of the people we lead. But we cannot forget that we are in service to our leaders. That word service shares the same root meaning as servant. Thus, we are servant leaders, and Forbes defines this as leadership that occurs when the leader's main goal and responsibility is to provide service to their people, your team. A servant leader focuses on the people that are directly below them rather than a company as a whole. Now, Jesus displayed this in John 13 during the Passover feast when he washed the disciples' feet. That was Jesus serving those directly below him. Now, throughout this chapter, he taught many lessons on servant leadership. Verses 1, he taught motivated by love to serve others. Verse 3, security that allows you to serve others. Verses 4 and 5, he initiated servant leadership. 6 and 7, he taught how to receive servant ministry. And 12 and 15, to teach servanthood. Now, how do we shed this fear? Well, we now understand that naked leaders must put their egos aside. They conquer their need to feel important and do what the team needs in order to win. Now let's take a look at this short video. Now, this was a funny and somewhat satiric look at what it would be like to see me in every position as you come to church. We know physically this is not possible. There is absolutely no way that I could be everywhere at one time. However, I do have ownership in a lot of these areas. And sometimes you do not want to give that ownership up. But this is not healthy as a leader also. We have taken the time now to be transparent. We have built trust and relationship with our peeps. So now we need to empower others. Dave Ferguson, author of Hero Maker, would call this permission giving. Permission giving means seeing the leadership potential in those around you and giving them permission to engage in leadership opportunities. It means saying yes to their potential, to their gifts, and to the way God is working in them. When you lead this way, you give others a platform to fully engage in God's mission. Is there biblical reference for this? Well, of course. John 20:21 says, "Again, Jesus said, 'Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you.'" So right here, we are looking at Jesus talking to his homies, the disciples. He says, "Hey guys, I've got all the authority and I am now giving you access to it. So go and spread the good news everywhere." If Jesus did this, then who are we to try to do everything ourselves? This is exactly why God is dope. He gave us a model of how to give authority away and simply have to use this as our guide. Again, think about the video we watched and how impossible it would be if no authority was ever given away. Derwin Gray, founding pastor of Transformation Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, says, "The best leaders look into the soul of a person and say, 'I see what you can be, and my role is to bring that out of you.' We see this in Matthew 4:19. 'Come follow me,' Jesus said, 'and I will send you out to fish for people.' This is the best I see in you conversation that has ever happened on earth. See, empowering others is simply doing this. Having a conversation with the person you lead, I see in you, is to come follow, teaching them and elevating them to where you need them. I will send you out and fish for people." Now, we do this by delegating authority and not tasks. Craig Rochelle says, when you delegate tasks, you create followers. But when you delegate authority, you create leaders. See, when you delegate authority, what you're doing is giving leaders an opportunity to grow. When you tell them exactly what to do, you're controlling them. The reality is, you can have control or you can have growth, but you won't have both. Craig also says to trust them to do their job with clarity. We empower people through clarity and trust. We must be clear on the what and the why, but not the how. Trust those you empower with the how. Clarity ensures that your team members' work is aligned with your goals and mission. Your team will know that what they are doing matters. Trust is the necessary net that results in risk-taking. When your team members have freedom to fail, they have the freedom to experiment and don't have to be perfect. See, failure is not fatal because we have all fallen short before. Here at Victory, we seek excellence and not perfection. So let's think about the 05-06 Steelers. They were 11-5 that season, and they were the 6th seed into the playoff, which is the last possible seed. They won the Super Bowl that year. See, the Steelers took those losses and learned how to make the adjustments, and they were an excellent team. Conversely, the Patriots, a team we all love here in Pittsburgh, in 2007, they went undefeated, 16-0, and won their playoff games and were sitting perfect going into the Super Bowl. But they lost. They got no chip that year. So without failing during the season, they never had the opportunity to learn and grow from adversity. Now let's talk about fears that keep us from permission giving and how we overcome them. Fear number 1, the fear of failure. No one wants to fail. Did you know that only 25% of new businesses make it 15 years or more? 75% of new businesses fail, obviously, within that time period. But here's a list of people whose businesses failed the first time, but they went on to succeed. Soichiro Honda, Honda Motors. Milton Hershey here in Pennsylvania. We love him, the Hershey Company. Brian Chesky, Airbnb. Elon Musk, Tesla and SpaceX. James Dyson, the Dyson vacuum cleaners and fans and such. From their failures, these guys learned leaders must be willing to give authority away, knowing that the project could fail. Fear number 2, the fear of rejection. Leaders must be secure in God and in their own identity so that they are okay with giving permission to transfer allegiance to another person. The Miami Heat have a basketball team, and the GOAT, the greatest of all time, LeBron James, came to play for them. That team already had a great leader named Dwayne Wade. The first year they played together, they did not win a title. Wade realized this. The team needed to transfer allegiance to Bron for Bron to be the alpha. When this move was made, they won consecutive championships. Fear number 3, the fear of loss of control. Giving up control is hard. Imagine Pastor John trying to run marriage and family, experience, outreach, family ministries, while trying to lead our church from the top. He has had to lead with the yes and empower people in each of those areas. He has had to trust Pastor Bob, Kelly Selleck, Pastor Chris, and Matt Brown. See, leaders must divest in the direct management of leaders and people for teams to grow. Fear number 4, the fear of conflict. When you do anything different, people are not always going to be on board. Leaders cannot allow the status quo to be okay. Leaders must be fine with pushback when developing new priorities. And fear number 5, the fear of financial hardship. Leaders do not allow fear of financial hardship to stop them. Leaders must know that God provides provision. They face the fear and they still empower people. Hey, this was an honor to share just the beginnings of leading through others with you today. Remember, being vulnerable allows you to embrace humility, selflessness, transparency. We got to share those fears of vulnerability, of losing teammates, being embarrassed, or feeling inferior. Being vulnerable will help you have a real relationship with your people. Having this relationship will allow them to trust you. And now with relationship and trust, we are in better position to empower. When you empower others, remember to see their potential. Give permission to engage in leadership opportunities. Let people fully engage in God's vision. Overcome those fears of empowerment, failure, rejection, loss of control, conflict, and financial hardship. Thanks for hanging with me today, guys. Make sure if you have any questions to check out the additional resources on the note page. Hey, have a great day, and I will see all of you this weekend.